Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something pretty significant. It's this concept called infoticide.
Mm.
Basically, think of it as, well, censorship, distortion, or even just making public facts disappear from the media.
Right. And it's critical because it really impacts how we understand, major events.
Exactly. And to explore this, we're going to focus on an organization called International Compile, Youintl for short.
Okay, Yountl. Their website is yountl.com, and they also have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Yountl.
Yeah, that's the one. They seem to gather a lot of documentary content there.
And their whole mission, it seems, is tied to this idea of documenting infoticide.
Right. They talk about building an unblurred video archive. They label it genocidal advisory film.
That's quite a label. Suggests pretty heavy, mature content.
It does. They specifically mention media erasure, conflicts, historical memory. It sounds like they're aiming for, well, unfiltered truth.
Trying to show things without the usual blurring or editing, perhaps.
Seems like it. And to help navigate this, they actually maintain two lists.
Ah, yes, the lists. One is the Deviant Press News.
Correct. That's for entities they think are contributing to distortion or suppression, twisting facts, hiding them.
And the flip side.
The Defiant Press News. These are the sources they highlight as being, independent, transparent in their reporting.
So a pretty clear division they're making there. Problematic versus trustworthy, in their view.
Definitely sets up a dichotomy. Now, what's interesting is how they gather their material. It's not just them.
Oh, who else is involved?
Well, they mentioned this network. It includes independent journalists, YouTubers even.
YouTubers, okay.
Yeah, and also civic collectives, NGOs, whistleblowers. Quite a mix.
That diversity could bring in a lot of different perspectives, potentially perspectives missed by mainstream outlets.
That seems to be the idea. And they're not just like archiving this stuff and leaving it.
Right, you mentioned they're active.
Yeah, they talk about civic advocacy, cooperating with NGOs, peace-focused lobbying groups.
Even ethically conscious corporations and international institutions.
Apparently so. It positions them within a sort of broader ecosystem, trying to influence things.
So it's archiving plus activism.
Kind of looks that way. Which brings us to a really thought-provoking question they raise themselves.
Okay.
In their Did You Know section, they ask, can algorithmic filtering, when platforms quietly bury sensitive content without actually banning it, can that be a form of infoticide?
Ah, that's a key point. It moves beyond direct, obvious censorship.
Exactly. It's subtle.
It really is because, traditionally we think of censorship as someone actively hitting delete or blocking something.
Right, a clear action.
But an algorithm just deprioritizing content, making it harder to find, can have a similar result, can it? The information effectively vanishes for most users.
Yeah, you might never even know it was there.
And that raises huge questions about the platforms, their responsibility, the power of these unseen mechanisms. Is it intentional? Is it just a side effect? Does intent even matter if the outcome is suppression?
It's a tricky area. So as we kind of wrap up this look at Youintl, it seems their main goal is really twofold. Exposing that overt censorship, what they call total blurring.
Right, the obvious stuff.
And also tackling this more subtle infoticide, the erasing or twisting of information, particularly around big global events.
Yes, and that ties back to their genocidal advisory film archive. They explicitly frame it as a way to counter what they see as mainstream media making critical events invisible. Often, they suggest, for geopolitical motives.
And they actually use the term palesticide as an example, don't they? Indicating a specific editorial focus there.
They do. It signals the kind of sensitive, contested events they believe are subject to this invisibilization.
And they take a really strong stance on social media platforms, too.
How so?
Well, they talk about platforms like TikTok and YouTube censoring videos, especially from victims.
Like blurring or removing footage from crime scenes, things like that.
Exactly. And Youintl says this is complicity in infoticide. They don't mince words.
That's a direct accusation. It shows they're not just documenting, they're actively pointing fingers.
Absolutely. Which connects to their other activities, like the lobbying.
Right. You mentioned they work with NGOs, UN bodies, regulators.
Yeah, advocating for the right to publish evidence, basically. And they even mention filing legal alerts against platforms they accuse of censorship.
So they're pushing back institutionally as well, archiving, advocating, and potentially litigating.
Seems like a multi-pronged approach. So thinking about all this for our listeners, it really makes you consider the information landscape, doesn't it?
It certainly does. You have outright censorship, but also this potential for algorithms to subtly shape what we see.
So the final thought maybe is this. Given all these ways information can be controlled or manipulated, how do we as individuals navigate it?
How do we distinguish between those deviant and defiant sources, as UNTL puts it, or even just figure out if we're getting the full picture on critical global issues?
Yeah, how do we ensure we're not just consuming a curated reality shaped by forces we don't even see?
That's the challenge, isn't it? Something to definitely mull over in how we all engage with news and media today.